Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV Wednesday night, and we take a look at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Some very interesting things going on at the moment. If we look at the logs, results and fixtures, you'll see everyone's still scrambling for the, in Super League A, B and C, they are scrambling for the top six, the guaranteed semi-finals, and of course, the relegation zone is threatening. We'll also take a look at the promotion league and the poll top six and bottom six during the course of the evening. But big thanks, of course, to our sponsors that are on board with Cape Rugby TV. Hisense is on board with us. And as you know, we'll be announcing the winner of the Hisense mobile phone competition a little bit later during the course of the show. Score Energy Drinks, for those of you that have just tuned in, Score Energy Drinks on board with Cape Rugby TV. And, of course, with Western Province Club Rugby, with the Sevens. And Springbok Atlas, for those of you that need bus transport, you need to book your buses when you travel away, then Springbok Atlas is, of course, the bus company for you. MChem 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road, Dulux Maitland on number 30 Coburg Road. Those are your sponsors that are on board with Cape Rugby TV. Right, let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Paarwater. Hello, Jerome. Nice to have you back.
Hello, JP. It's an interesting week coming up, as we've been talking for the last 4 weeks about the logs and about games and how it is, and still up until the last week, it's still like there's an opportunity for a lot of teams to make it. A lot of teams can go down, so it's still an interesting last week, especially in Super A and Super B.
It's down to the wire. Labib Levy has joined us here on Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you, Labib.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, JP. It's always a pleasure to operate here with you.
Well, I was watching you and Jerome talk now as we started looking at the logs in the various leagues, and immediately it was a debate: who's going up, who's going down, and your mathematical skills came to the fore here.
Yeah, it's all points for, points against. How many tries you score? Are you going to get a bonus point? That's going to make the difference this coming week in the various divisions.
Makes it quite exciting.
So it's interesting that to hear the team talks that will take place this week and play for the badge and play hard out.
Yeah. The other thing that you're going to be talking to us tonight is, of course, also about the coaching workshops that you've been having, and we've been talking about that now during the year. You've had so many of these coaching workshops, and you had one now on the weekend at Newlands.
Yes, we had a World Rugby Level 2 coaching course which was held at Newlands. We had we had about 30 people which attended, and we had quite an interesting. It was quite interesting to see that so many ex-players came in and did the World Rugby Level 2 course. We had Percy Montgomery, we had Earl Rose, as well as Kurt Coleman.
And you're going to show us some videos and some pictures from that a little bit later.
Yes, we'll do that.
Fantastic. All right, folks, as we said then earlier on, it is down to the wire. There were some big games played this weekend. Brackenfell UWC is the focus match for us. We were hoping to get out to some of the other games over the weekend, but unfortunately couldn't make it out there. Brackenfell UWC, big game over the weekend. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. right, there we go. False Bay, at least not False Bay, Brackenfell, UWC going into the first half there, 15 points to 3. We're not going to give you the final result just yet. Jerome, looking at that game, Brackenfell's got the upper hand.
Yeah, it was a strange first half. I thought UWC started well, but I think the defense just let them down. And it's not a system. It's the guys didn't they didn't tackle, especially there that one try that we see now, the centre McCain Fick. You just let the guy run past him. The guy ran in his channel. He's supposed to tackle, and I think it's tough. I think they went into this game knowing that you know, they have to get points out of the game. And I think maybe sometimes the coaches put too much pressure on the guys and the youngsters. And I don't think that they're not as bad as they are, but I mean the pressure was, I think, I can see in this first half, it's not how UWC play.
Do you think it's on UWC's mind now, without us giving the game away, and we will look at the logs, do you think it's a high pressure situation for UWC? They're concerned, or are they thinking about one game at a time?
They're supposed to do that, but what I think is like, I think they were under too much pressure in this game.
In the game itself?
Because they're youngsters, and I've seen the games that they play against Hamiltons, the games that they play against Falls Bay.
Yeah.
They just played, but all of a sudden, Brackenfell, and not that Brackenfell is bad, but all of a sudden you can see they're quite nervous in this first half.
Yeah. Labib, you've also taken a look there at the first half. Your thoughts on the game?
What I must say, JP, I can actually see that both teams are well coached. Just certain aspects which they do. If I look at that last clip.
Is that because some of them came on your coaching course?
Like we look at Brackenfell with the try they scored, it came off nice structure to the back ball, which is what you want. They shifted it well wide. There was good continuity in the play, good hard straight running to put the defense under pressure. That's why he probably missed the tackle. He should have made the tackle, but there was good hard straight running. Tackle me or I go square, and that's what happened.
I would like to see Jerome Parvat on the one side coaching the side and Labib Levy coaching on the other side.
Yeah, I helped Brackenfell last week. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm joking.
I never know.
No, I'm joking.
I know that both of you are always out at the clubs helping the various clubs. All right, folks, before we go into the ad break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to take a look at the second half there. If you want to win yourself a Hisense Infinity H7S Pure Shot mobile phone, then you need to download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app. All right, if you download the mobile app, it's very easy. It's on Google Play and on the iStore. Then it's as simple as downloading the app, and you just need to go and register. Once you register, you are listed as a user, and we're going to be drawing our winners from the registered users. So you've got to go download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app. It's on the iStore, on iTunes and on Google Play. Download the app and register. And I see, Labib, you were using the app a little bit earlier on to look at the logs.
Yeah, it's quite user-friendly. Its speed is quite nice, which you want, and I hope it doesn't take too much data, but it works quite well.
No, it's been modified, actually, that the images and everything loads very quickly. Yeah. And so we did take that into account right in the beginning. But right, so if you want to win yourself a Hisense mobile phone, the H7S Pure Shot, then all you need is go download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app, and you could put and register. You have to register on the app. All right, congratulations then to last week's winner, Henriette Tilling. Henriette walks away with the Hisense mobile phone. Henriette, congratulations. You are this week's Hisense H7S Pure Shot winner. Remember then, folks, download the Cape Rugby TV mobile app, and you put yourself in the mix to win yourself this fantastic phone. It really is a very nice phone. It's got Android and RAM and ROM and double memory cards and everything you need. We're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll be taking a look at the second half between Brackenfell and UWC going down to the wire, and we'll talk about the various permutations in the various leagues coming up now. Right, welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. We take a look at the logs, the results, and the fixtures of what happens in Western Province Club Rugby. Before we went into the break, we were taking a look at the first half highlights between Brackenfell and UWC. Brackenfell going into the first half there with a lead of 15 points to 3. UWC under pressure. Let's now see who ends up winning the game and what the second half looked like. Everybody there down, well, I was going to say down to the wire, but really not down to the wire. Convincing win for Brackenfell, 32 points to 8. Certainly looks like things are not going UWC's way at the moment, although I must say, Jerome, it was a nice try for UWC, but Brackenfell taking the win.
Yeah, great try there by UWC. Great patience in the 22, 5 meters from the line, and to create that overlap. That's what you want. So that's perfect play by them, but poor defense. 10-12 not tackling, and if you have that in the game, you can forget to play rugby. It's tough, and they just expose that every time. Brackenfell, they saw it. The coach maybe told them, look, that's the channel to attack, and they did it the whole time. So poor defense.
Labib, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Jerome in the 22. Even before they created the overlap, there was nice decoy runners, like I mentioned earlier. So they are good plans that they're putting in place. You know, when they took the ball wide, they were dummy runners. They set it up. They came back with a played a backdoor sharpie played it. They created the overlap, and then again, obviously, the defense. It seemed that the system is there, but the will to stop the play isn't. Sometimes Brackenfell was just running hard, and like I said earlier, they must make the tackle and they don't want to.
Is that a question of putting your body on the line, conditioning? What is it?
Yeah. I think it's up to the individual. He has to put the body on the line and play for the badge. The coaches will obviously know after doing tackling drills on training whether this person can tackle or not. Then decide whether they want to select a player who can't tackle versus a player who doesn't want to tackle.
Yeah.
But they're there. The shape is there. There's no gap, and then it's just opening up.
Yeah, Jerome, you've done a lot of work in terms of tackling.
JP, and as you were saying now, and Labib was also talking about, now you know what happens sometimes with coaching. Now there's 2 guys, it's 10-12 that can't tackle. Now you punish the whole team. So for example, I know what coaches would do. This whole week, they will do things that just tackling. But it's 2 individuals.
Yeah, so you want to.
So you don't have to punish the whole team. You take that 2 guys. Take that 2 guys and you let them tackle the whole week.
I'm hoping that's old school thinking. What do they call it? Kopperstamp. Is it Kopperstamp?
Yeah, but exactly. Okay. But now the coaches go back to Kopperstamp. But it's only 2 guys. So you need to focus on something else. Also get that guys out and let them tackle.
Right. So there's a little bit of work to be done.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of work to be done. All right, folks. Let's take a look at the results then from Super League A before we go to the log, and then of course we're going to look at some of the important matchups in Super League A this coming weekend. It's all down to the wire. Like, you can't believe it's down how much it is down to the wire in terms of who's going to be in the first and second place, who's going to make it in the top 6, and of course that promotion relegation space. And we'll talk to Labib Levy and Jerome Parvater, both from Western Province Rugby. We'll talk to them about these various permutations. Let's take a look at the results now. It was a win for Union Mill, 63-24 over Belha, and you'll see on the log shortly why this is an important factor. And then Brackenfell, 32-8 win over UWC. False Bay with a 50-32 win over Villages. Hamilton's went down to Durbell, 12-7. NTK went down to Vix, 55-40. St. George's went down to SK Warmers, 29-26. And then Tygerberg with a 1-point win over UCT. Die Tiere het dit toe gedoen op die naweek, mense. Right. So, as we mentioned, a lot of very close games. And if we look at some of those results there, Jerome, the important results, Belha, we know what's happening in the Belha space. There is relegation on the cards. Union Mill, though, have managed to secure their top spot in the top 6, so they'll be happy with that result.
Yeah, and again, JP, spoken to one of the coaches last night at Union Mill. He said that it was actually strange that Belha actually played well. That first half they played well and they were competitive throughout the game. So it's not all bad for Belha, but unfortunately they are going down.
Look, we've got Super League is a very tough outfit. I think we can we've said it before that Belhar is going to have a fantastic 2019 season, and we can shelve that conversation for another day. But Super League A has been a tough league for everybody. The False Bay Villagers game, of course, now False Bay took more points out of this Labib. 50 points to 32 win for them over Villagers, and this win for them, of course, is as important as for the other teams, because this puts them and Durbell in that space where one of either Durbell or False Bay this weekend, the decider is going to be made as to who's going to be guaranteed a home semi.
Yeah, it's a home semi for them, but even for Villagers, if obviously you're going to look at the log later, it allows other permutations. They would have picked up points, and False Bay actually needed to win that game in order to make this weekend important. If they had lost it, it wouldn't have guaranteed the home semi, which you mentioned. So both teams had everything to play for.
And then Durbell with a win over Hamilton's, the same scenario. Durbell, Hamilton's a strong outfit. It could have gone either way.
It's quite tighter.
And this keeps Durbell in the fight for that first and second guaranteed semi.
Keeps it interesting, and we know they both play very physical rugby, so that would probably have been an arm wrestle.
Yeah. Jerome, then of course NTK went down to Vix this weekend, and this is a particularly important game for both these sides, because if we look at the log, then we know that NTK and Vix are in that NTK is in the relegation space, and Vix is in the potentially where they're sitting at number 6 on the log at the moment. Vix will want to make sure that they guarantee their spot in the top 6. So this win for Vix against NTK, which looked like it was not necessarily a big margin, a fairly close margin, was make or break for both those sides.
Yeah, it was. And NNK knows, if you look at the score, I mean, it's high scoring, it's 95 points in the game, 40 points for NNK. So NNK, this whole season, you can see their scores are quite high, though the scores against them are also high, but they can score some good tries. So this weekend, NNK, UWC, NNK can score tries, but they also leak a lot of points in. So it's going to be quite an interesting matchup between them, because it's between them and Villagers. And as we said, anything can happen in this game. And
then, of course, the win for Tygerberg over UCT. Again, the factor of what's happening in the top 6 on the log.
That was a Tiger Cup. We were at City Park, and the score that we got was that UCT had actually won it by 1 point. But there was probably about a few minutes left. And then about an hour later, I just heard that Tygerberg won the Tiger Cup. But
somebody just gave you the wrong score. You must
it was a UCT guy that gave you that
wrong. All right, let's take a look at the log now, everybody, and you'll see what it is that we're referring to about just how close it is here. So we got Stellenbosch at the top of the log. They're finished, but no one's going to catch them. Followed by False Bay in second place. Look how close that is. Durbell in third place, 58 and 56. And then it's Union Mill, Hamilton's, Vix. This is where it gets interesting. Look at those 2 and 3 teams there from Vix and UCT, 45 and 43. Vix is done and dusted for the season. They're on 45 points. And then comes along UCT on 43 points. This is why this weekend's match for UCT is so important. We'll take a look at those match stats in a second. But then, of course, if we consider... So let's quickly take a look at the matchup, then the fixtures for this weekend, and we'll see that UCT are playing against Union Mill this weekend. Belhar, SK Warmers, Tygerberg, Durbell, False Bay, Brackenfell, and NTK and UWC. All right, so the important games here, if we look at the UCT matchup against Union Mill this weekend, and as we said, this is important in terms of the top 6. Jerome, if we look at this matchup here, Super League A, we've got UCT playing away to Union Mill, and they need these points to guarantee their spot in the top 6, or to get into the top 6. They're sitting behind Vix at the moment, who are sitting at number 6 on the log. And if we look at these stats, you got UCT on a 62% win rate, Union Mill sitting on a 69% win rate. Both teams are putting high points, averages points per game. They're scoring high tries per game. it's almost impossible to call.
Yeah, it is, and I know UCT went out flat out this year for the league because they played a couple of older guys, which I always thought like you can actually use the league to prepare for the Varsity Cup next year because that older guys are not going to play. You need to qualify to play Varsity Cup. So they had high hopes in saying that they want to win the league. They're not out completely, but it's getting tough for them now if you just look at the win percentage.
But to make it on the top 6, they've got to win this game.
They got to win this.
They've got to win this with enough.
They got to win this game and convincingly.
Yeah, because at the moment, I mean, UCT sitting on 43 points on the log, and Vix is on 45. If they take the win here, if UCT win this game this weekend against Union Mill, they'll make it into the top 6.
And Vix will fall out.
Yeah, Vix will fall out, but then they have to. So yeah, they have to. It have to be a convincing win, because if you look at the points against Vix and think they can't even lose with 2 points, then they get to 40, 45 also. So then Vix is through in any case. So
Labib, the Brackenfell is of course and not in a position to make it into the top 6 at the moment. Yeah. So it's important that for UCT that they get more than 2 points here.
Yeah, but I mean, Brackenfell, they're a proud team.
It's done and dusted now.
Yeah.
Can't get in the top 6.
Yeah, but they'll still play for pride. You know, I mean, there's no.
So the only real match here that we're looking at is for the top 6. The important one is UCT's match against Union Mill.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't be. Right, then the other important thing, folks, if we go down to the bottom of the log now, this is the relegation space we were talking about, and this is such a dangerous space. So if you look at the log there, you can see that Villagers is sitting at number 11 on the log, followed by UWC at number 12, followed by NTK in 13th place. So in this case here, Villagers sitting on 24, UWC is on 23, NTK sitting on 20. So, Labib, you were talking, and both of you, in fact, were talking about the maths here of just before the show. The NTK UWC game is going to be make or break. But if we look at the log, you can see clearly on the log that if UWC win on Saturday, this is it's so interesting. If UWC win on Saturday with enough points, then NTK. Well, if UWC win, period, then NTK is going to the relegation space.
Yes, 100%.
If
NTK win
by 5 points
with a bonus and UWC lose within 7 and score 4 tries, then Villagers is in that space.
So it really is between Villagers, UWC, and NTK.
Yeah.
And it can go anywhere, Jerome.
Yeah, definitely. So the team for me, because they can't play anymore, who's in trouble is Villagers.
So Villagers is really waiting for the outcome of the other side.
But they can be in trouble because they're done.
So I think it's going to be between one of UWC and NTK. My money is on one of them to get in that zone.
All right. Well, let's look at the matchup. The matchups here between NTK and UWC, and there you see the win ratios. Interestingly enough, NTK only won 15% of their games this season so far, and UWC has won 31% of their games. Average points per game, though, for NTK is a little bit higher. So now we get back to the stats here, gentlemen. That even though NTK are lower on the log and they've won less games this season, they are scoring more points on average than UWC. So Jerome, can NTK take this?
Like I say, they score more points, but they also concede a lot of points against them. So and I mean, surely UWC, they've got home ground advantage, and they can use that because and I believe they play inside the stadium, not on the B field. So that will boost the students a bit.
For NTK, and as we were saying here earlier on, Labib, for NTK, and if we look at the average tries per game, NTK is currently averaging 4 tries per game, which means if they stay on their average and they win, they can get their 5 points.
Yeah, they're attacking well. I've watched them a few times, and they're not too bad on attack. They get good momentum, but if they want to, if you want to go on pure stats, they have to work a lot on the defense this week, because, like Jerome said, they're leaking as well. So if they can tighten up the defense and keep their attack going, they might just surprise UWC.
And if they stay on the average points per game, then Villagers is in trouble.
Possibly. Probably.
All right, folks, we're going to leave it at that. As we said earlier on, it is absolutely down to the wire. UWC NTK, that's the game this weekend that is going to make the big difference at the bottom of the Super League A relegation zone. All right, as you know, Dulux Maitland's of course on board with Cape Rugby TV, as well as Springbok Atlas. Now, Springbok Atlas has got a bus solution for you. If you're traveling as a club rugby team and you're going anywhere in the Western Cape to go and play your away games, then book your bus services with Springbok Atlas. You can get a hold of Rashad Luki on 021 506 2572. They've got great, safe and reliable bus services with negotiable rates. Rashad will give you really good prices. They operate all over South Africa, but what you're of course looking for is the transport solution in Cape Town. So get hold of Rashad Luki at Springbok Atlas on 506 7252, and Rashad will be able to give you a special price for your club rugby transport to your next away game. When we come back from the break, we're going to take a look at what's happening in Super League B. It's as close there. Welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV, and we're still going to be taking a look at Jerome's technical review. That's going to come up, and we'll in fact review the scrum and line out. That's going to come from a match between Brackenfell and UWC. But let's move on now to Super League B. It's all getting very close. I keep saying this. I say in the first half, I say in the second half. It's all very, very, very close. Remember, you can win yourself a case of score a little bit later. So keep your handy your mobile phones. I'll tell you how to win yourself a case of score. We'll do that competition in a bit. Super League B results now, and Belleville with a 44-27 win over All Saints. Franschhoek beating Rangers 62-22. Hamlets 33-32 over Kales River. Kraaifontein went down to Helderberg 25-15. Paarl 18-10 over Vineyards. Primrose with a win over Hands and Hearts 21-13. And then Young Peoples went down by just 1 point to Collegians. Very close game there between Collegians and Young Peoples. All right, so down to the wire again. Important results there, of course. We would imagine Helderberg, Franschhoek and Paarl are reasonably secure. Let's quickly take a look at the logs, and we can start the conversation about the top six and, of course, the relegation zone. A few more games in hand here, though. But Helderberg, Franschhoek, big game there this weekend. Franschhoek will want to make sure that they stay firmly in the first and second spot. Then followed by Paarl, Belleville, Primrose, Kales River, Young People's, Hamlets, Vineyards. Collegians at 10, Rangers at 11, All Saints at 12, Peniel Villages, Kraaifontein, Hands and Hearts. All right, Jerome, before we go to the top of the pile of the log, which is, of course, Helderberg, Franschhoek and Paarl, those close games down there, let's quickly take a look at the bottom of the log. Hands and Hearts, Kraaifontein, Peniel Villages. There are still quite a few games to play here, so not quite the same conversation that we were having during Super League A. And between Hands and Hearts, Kraaifontein, Peniel Villages, and All Saints, the log is still wide open before there's promotion relegations there. So the teams are not quite in that panic stage just yet, but they want to really now make sure that it's their last chance to make sure they get out of that space.
Yeah, if you look there at the bottom there, Hands and Hearts has played 11. Most of the teams have played 12 to 13. So they need to get, if they can get 2 wins, then that can change for them. But they need to up it a bit now, their game. They're a quality side, so they just need to get points. But yeah, between, I'd say 4 of them, anything can still happen.
Yeah. So Labib, maybe in 2 weeks' time, once these teams are down to their last game, we're going to have the same conversation as we just had in Super League A.
You see, this Super League B, if you watch Rugby World Cup, Soccer World Cup, you hear pool of death. This is a league of death.
This is it.
and every team here, you can be Kraaifontein, All Saints, Pinyal, Hands and Hearts, if they rock up on the day, they have no respect for the log. So that log as it is, it's nice for the team that was safe, but I wouldn't rest on my laurels if you play anyone at the bottom.
All right, then let's take a look now at the top of the log. Let's just go back to the log there, folks, and you can just give you a reference point that we're talking about. Helderberg sitting at the top on 50 points, Franschhoek's at 47, and then Paarl is sitting on 46. Now, and Belleville on 44, and Primrose on 44, and Kuilsriver on 44. If we just look at the second place factor, first of all, Helderberg's at the top of the pile, but let's ignore Helderberg at the top of the pile. There's a bit of room to play for you. But look how close those teams are from second place all the way down to sixth place, where Kuilsriver is sitting. And not to mention the fact that teams number 7, 8, 9, and 10 can still get into the top 6. So you basically, for the top 6 competition here, there are 10 teams still in the running.
Yeah, I think from 7 to 10, that's mathematical. I think the top 6 won't change. That's my prediction. Because if you look at Kuilsriver, Primroses, Belleville, they just need basically a point out of the last 2 games for them to be secure. But it's going to be a wrestling match up there, especially if you look at that top 2. They're going at each other soon, and it will be probably game of the week for me.
But if we look at Young Peoples, they're on 34 points, and Hamlets, they're on 34 points, and Vineyards on 34 points. They've still got 2. If any of those teams win both those games with bonus points, they can jump into number 6 in position. Kuilsriver's only got 1 game in hand.
Yeah, if they win both those bonus, but as I said, my prediction is that the top 6 isn't going to change at all. All
right, well, that's your prediction, Jerome. It's pretty close, but the big game this weekend is, of course, Helderberg-Franschhoek. This is league position 1 and 2. Franschhoek will want to take this win because of the fact that they want to make sure that they secure that home, that semi-final. So, and for Helderberg, they want to make sure that they don't get themselves in a position where they're threatened by the likes of Paarl and Belleville.
Yeah, one good thing about Franschhoek, JP, every week it's a home game for them. With all the people they take to the opposition field. So I can't say if it's like a home advantage or away game or whatever. Like every week it's a home game for them with all their people. So, but it's going to be a tough one there. And I
let's take a look at the matchup between Helderberg and Franschhoek. And I know you guys have all got it in front of you, but it's close. It's going to be close here. If you look at these percentages, Helderberg has won 77% of their games so far. Franschhoek has won 75% of their games. Average points per game, though, is in Franschhoek's favour, and there's not a massive difference in points for and points against. Franschhoek playing away, average points per game, 39 points per game. They're scoring 6 tries on average. So, Jerome, if we're looking at, and also what Labib said earlier on, pool of death, if you look at these matchup here, you're talking about 1 and 2 that are justified to be in this position. They deserve to be there. This has to be probably one of the bigger games this season.
Yeah, this week between them. This is the big game, and they pretty much even match up. It's just anything can happen on Saturday if you look at how they even almost
too close
even
to call.
Up. Yeah.
Too close to call. And if you look at stats again, 6 tries a game. That brings your crowds. That's why the crowds are going because they're seeing the kids running around and promoting rugby. I mean, many countries wish that, or provinces wish that they can score so many tries a game to bring crowds to the games.
Yeah, I think that there are a few stadiums around the world at the moment that wish they could bring that. But there we go, folks. Franschhoek, Helderberg, too close to call. It's going to be a big game this weekend. I suggest you, of course, home ground for Helderberg this weekend. Let's quickly take a look then at the fixtures in Super League B. It's Kuilsriver up against Belleville, the Kayla boys, Collegians and Kraaifontein. Hands and Hearts take on Paarl, Helderberg, Franschhoek, as we just mentioned. Primrose take on Young Peoples, Rangers and Pinnell Villages. And then it's Vineyards up against Hamlets. Right, we're going to take an ad break. But before we go to the break, if you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, all right, if you want to win yourself a case of Score, 33090. 33090, SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. You can put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. Congratulations then to last week's winner, Natalie Abrams. Natalie, you walk away with a case of Score Energy drinks. Somebody from Cape Rugby TV is going to be in touch with you shortly, and you can come and fetch your case of Score Energy drinks. There you see the score behind me right now. We're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll move to Super League C. Again, close log.
One of our greatest assets are our fans, the faithful, and we really wanted to create something unique, something world-class, a supporter club that engaged and interacted with all our fans, not only within the Western Cape, but regionally, nationally, and in fact internationally. We have the best fans in the world, and we believe we put together the most amazing, unique, and innovative supporter program. And we call on you to stand together with us. Are you one of the faithful?
Right, welcome back everybody. As you know then, it's a big weekend, a match this weekend between Kuils River and Bellville. They want to make sure that they stay at the top of the pile in terms of making it into the top 6. It's Kuils River's last game this weekend. Bellville will still have one last shot to make it. Massive game. Kuils River want to make sure they stay in the top 6 and will be looking to get those extra points. This is the pick of the week for us as we go down to Kuils River this weekend. It's going to be a home ground festival of entertainment, a lot of fun. Donnie Isaacs and Grant Albertine and all the rest of the boys will be hosting everybody from Cape Rugby, at least all the fans out there, at the Kuils River Rugby Field. Let's quickly take a look at the matchup then in terms of Kuils River and Bellville. It's a 62% strike rate for Kuils River at the moment. Bellville have got a slightly higher strike rate on 67%. Slightly more tries per game there for, average points per game, 30 and 26. Jerome, you don't actually need to look at the stats here. If I just talk to you about the matchup here, Kuils River and Bellville, this is going to be a monster game.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be the game for the weekend, this one in Super B, the same with the Helderberg game. But and it's the last game for Kuils River, as we said, and Bellville still have another game in hand.
Yeah.
So it's important for Kuils River to get their points, and it's important also for Bellville, because they're pretty much even on the lock to keep their winning momentum, and it's gonna be, it's really, both teams can run the ball. So and if you see that average tries per game is 4. And not a lot of difference between the two, so yeah, it's going to be a tough one. It's
going to be a close game. All right, folks, so that's the game. Make sure you join us then. Kuils River up against Bellville this coming weekend at the Kuils River boys' home ground, Kuils River. All right, let's take a look now at the fixtures, or at least the results from Super League C. Not a lot of games there. Goodwood 26 over Blue Jets, and Silurians went down to Macassar 31 points to 12. Log positions, Macassar stays firmly at the top of the pile with Goodwood in a second place, followed by Kylemore, Busy Bee, Strand. Still a lot of games to play here. Lunga, Strand United, Scottsdene, bottom of the log, Elsies, Silurians and Young Stars. Big game for Elsies this weekend as they play against Manenberg Rangers. They want to make sure that they stay out of that relegation space. So important game there for Elsies Rafir against Manenberg Rangers. We will still be travelling to Elsies this season to go and catch a game there. All right, then we did promise earlier on that we were going to take a look at the technical review with Jerome Parver, but before we do that, let's quickly take a look at the fixtures coming up this weekend in Super League C. Strand United take on Kylemore, Strand take on Goodwood, Scottsdene take on Lunga, Elsies and Manenberg, as I mentioned, Busy Bees and Young Stars, and Blue Jets and Macassar. Right, Jerome, we've got a scrum and a line-out technical review for you to take a look at. And remember, folks, we're going to be talking to Labib Levy about the coaching course that he's been doing and did one over the weekend. Brackenfell UWC, let's take a first look at the scrum. Right, folks, there you can see the scrum now. Bellville and UWC, very close. But there you can see the scrum now. It's, of course, UWC and Brackenfell. Jerome, it does look like UWC are getting the upper hand, a bit of a left shoulder, and but Brackenfell ending up with the ball and, of course, gaining possession and then feeding the line, of course, getting through to those centres in the back line, and then ball pops through to the backline player. With the advantage ultimately going to UWC. So scrum looked like it was going in UWC's favour. Then it ended up going back to Brackenfell, and then the knock-on and the ball going back to UWC. What do you make of that play?
Yeah, look, great setup from both the teams. UWC had the upper hand in the scrum the whole game as we watched the game, and I must say that the loose head from Brackenfell, every scrum he pulled his head out, and I don't think he was warned once in the game. It must be frustrating for Lionel in his coaching team to see every time what happened, the loose head pulled out, because he can't handle that pressure. So good pressure from UWC, and they managed to get that ball away, Brackenfell. But it was a bad ball for them to play off. So you could see that's one of the few times that UWC actually defended well because of their scrum going forward. All
right, and then we also got a line out here for you to take a look at between Brackenfell and UWC. So folks, we're using the clips that we've got. This is of course a UWC ball. Number 5 takes the ball, gets through to the scrummy, and of course the feed starts to happen, and then it's a turnover ball. Brackenfell take advantage, and UWC managed to at least get the ball back and prevent the try. Right, so what do you make of that move there?
Yeah, good line out from UWC. We call that a slider, where the six flanker come out from the maul. It's like a sort of a mini maul or a dummy maul. You think they're gonna maul, and then just pull out. If they pull all their defenders of Brackenfell in, so then they play it. But how we normally play it is that the 6 come out and he hits the number 12, and then they play off that again. But still, they didn't play that. But then you could see that the space were actually on, so it was right for them to play it. But then the number 13 came in and ran sort of an inside line almost into the defender, and they lost the ball. They were unattacking, they lost the ball, and Brackenfell gained momentum there because they had to turn back. So if you don't play that play properly, where the guy comes out, and everything was right from the line out, from the number 6 getting the ball out, making the pass, and just a silly error from the number 13. I don't know where he comes from, running that short line where the hole was actually open.
Habib, you want to give some comments there?
Yeah. I agree with Jerome. The slider play, which you mentioned, as you said, it can either set it up with the centre hits it hard up, and then they can play options of there. I think the centre should probably have stayed a bit out and just played the answer to where the space was, and then the knock-on would not have happened.
Yeah. All right, folks, MChem 24-hour pharmacy is, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. MChem is on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. So MChem 24-hour pharmacy, you've got to get out there. They are absolutely looking fantastic. They've just done some reconstruction. There's free parking over there. There's cafeteria upstairs. There's a spa where you can do your nails and you can do your pedicures and your toenails as well. That's what they call a pedicure. I have never done a pedicure myself, but maybe one of these days I'm going to get down to MChem and get my toenails done. I think rugby players particularly, rugby players and karate people must get their toes done, because you're always getting your toes are always getting stomped, and you want to have nice sexy feet if you're doing karate, because you have to, and judo people as well. Right, anyway, those are different sports that can get their toenails done, but MChem really is a fantastic pharmacy with great prices. You can meet Mr. Malach, Jill and Leon. That's such friendly staff there, and they will look after you with all of your needs, from orthopedic needs to sports nutrition needs. There's a prescription counter available 24 hours a day. If you need emergency medicine, then MChem 24-hour pharmacy has got it for you. Right, folks. Labib, you were now, of course, this weekend busy with a coaching course. You sent us a video here. Let's just take a look at the video, and there's some photographs as well. So just on the coaching then, quickly, is there a price for people who want to do the coaching course?
Yeah, level 1 is 250, level 2 is 450. Strength and conditioning level 1, which is also one of the course we generated this year. It's also 250.
And you're then certified for the rest of your life. You just have to do a refresher, maybe.
Yeah, you need to do level 1 to qualify for level 2, and it's World Rugby based. It's online. You can go anywhere in the world. It will be recognized.
You can invite JP once to come and talk to the coaches about their roles, because it seems like he.
No, that's a brilliant idea. That's actually a brilliant idea. You know, even for how to deal with media.
250 rand for level 1, 450 rand for level 2. Yeah. It's peanut money if you're serious about coaching.
100%, and obviously we try and get various people in to come and talk, just to give them different perspective of coaching.
Because you can't do all the talking.
No, I do minimal. We've got educators that do it.
So just Labib, quickly, for the folks that want to do the coaching courses, whether it be 7 coaching courses, how do they join?
Yeah, they can email me on labib@wprugby.co.za, and I'll send them all the coaches for the coaching material that's of the course that's left for this year, how to register.
Okay, fantastic.
Then we take it from there.
All right. Well, you might have a full house. You might have a full house if you've got another way publicizing Labib. Labib's details. So if you want to go do a coaching course, Jerome, thank you very much for joining us here on Cape Rugby TV. It's always fantastic having you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, JP, and looking forward to all the results next week.
Yeah, congratulations on your win with the under-21s over the weekend.
Yeah, thanks, JP. We have a tough one coming up on Saturday against the Lions at Ellis Park, but we'll be ready.
There we go. And Labib, thank you very much to you for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. It was great having me here.
Right, folks, that's a wrap from Cape Rugby TV. We'll see you on Saturday. Kuilsriver against Bellville. It's home ground advantage for Kuilsriver. Have yourself a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.